Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second round of qualifying, in where we have a new runner in Dekercastle and two-time winner from last year, Le6lindre. For this round of qualifying, we currently have Mongaza Speedways in 8 minutes. My name's Game Draco. I'm joined by Domare today, who will be a little late because he told me he's stuck in traffic. But anyway, hopefully we'll get the show on the road, and we have 8 minutes for Mongaza Speedway. This is the first track, so countdown will be given right now. I am setting up a timer myself just in case we do go over it. So I'm waiting on the other two to start, and we should be good to go. And sorry about that. And okay, we are good to go. I have 8 minutes, and the cylinder's off. Not so sure what to expect from either one. And it looks like dekercastle is frozen at the moment, unfortunately. We have 16.89 for cylinder. Not so sure where this is going to pan out. And we have 15-second. Uh-oh! Oh no, the cylinder crashed. Looks like dekercastle didn't know which track we were on, and cylinder comes in with a 47.515.
Hello, I just got here.
Hi, Domare. We're joined by Domare again.
Yeah.
So
guys,
you didn't miss much. We were just starting about 2 minutes into the first track. So, and 47, yeah, 47 first time. So we're going to
looks like dekercastle is in the multiplayer race section for some reason.
yeah.
Not sure what that's all about.
I'm not so sure either.
Doesn't look like the cylinder's gonna be beating the sub 50.
Okay. 49.82. Okay.
Oh, Decker choosing Neva Key. Interesting.
Very interesting.
I would have expected to see Bullseye before Neva.
Yeah. And he's doing the cockpit view.
Yeah, I like to call that the back door. Key's head being right in front of it.
That's hilarious.
Very funny.
Yeah, it's the only engine view I like because of this. Looks like you're piloting the hot seat versus actually the engines being in front of you, like in all the other pod cases.
It's a new land trucker.
That first person is just hard to drive. At least Nuka Key has that little bonus of not being completely excellent.
Yeah.
Le6lindre looking like he's on track to beat his 47 or 45.
45.41. That's a 45.406. And Dekercastle comes in with a 51.27.
We'll see if he can take that down to sub 50 maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
Certainly within the realm of possibility if you're getting a 51.
Yeah.
Looks like a 51.27, so that's 275.
Yep.
1670 first for the cylinder. Not on pace with his 45.
Ooh! Crashed into the dividing gate.
That's a rough spot to crash. Pretty easy to do though. Looks like he's sticking with that one. The cylinder not beating his 45.
No, not at all. Oh, crash with Neva.
Yeah, it looks like Decker's probably not going to be able to chase the 51.
No, not at all.
About to come up on the time.
Yeah. 6.41 cylinders. Easy pace to break his time. Not quite.
Looks like he'll need a fast last lap if he can pull it out. I'm guessing probably going to be another 46-ish pace.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. .46 pace.
Yep. So his best, Le6lindre's best still 45.406 right now. And Decker's still sitting at a 51.275. Oh, crash on the wall.
Yeah. Oh!
It looks like we had pretty simultaneous crashes from both Decker and Le6lindre. Decker choosing to stick it out. Doesn't look like he's on pace to do 51.
No.
53.
Okay, we have only a minute left to go.
Yeah, getting to the last run, so qualifying.
Okay, 1450 by cylinder.
Pretty solid first lap and second lap for Le6lindre so far. Let's see if he can close it out. Oh!
Crashed.
Just
Oh,
barely
man.
misses it.
Just barely misses it.
And Le6lindre still sitting his last run at 45.46. Decker coming into his third lap here. 10 seconds remaining.
Okay. Okay, cylinder's calling it, and
A
Decker gets a 47.
47.16. Solid improvement for
46.
Decker.
Okay. Time's up.
So we have a 45.406 final time for Le6lindre and a 47.165 for Decker.
Okay. I think we need to tell Decker that he can't do any more runs.
Yeah, it looks like he might not have been paying attention to the exact time, although he did seem to start a couple minutes late to go into the multiplayer section for some reason.
I don't know. I have to say time is up. Next, we're going to be going to Doug Derby.
Yeah, Doug Derby is almost like a more brutal and longer version of Mongaza Speedway. A lot of tight turns and hard sections to boost on.
Up, I see Decker has got.
Looks like Decker's calling it. All right.
Looks like he got the thing I just texted that time is up for both of them. So.
Yep. We're probably gonna have to tell them that it's Doug Derby next, given that Decker seemed to miss the demo on the note on Mongaza being the first.
And I just texted them that next track is Doug Derby at 15 minutes. So we're just waiting.
Yep, we should see them be ready to go hopefully soon here. Shouldn't take too long.
Okay, cylinder's ready. We're waiting on Decker. I mentioned how this Dekercastle mentioned he doesn't understand English well, so that might be another reason why he's from Mexico, which is Spanish. I took Spanish, yet I forgot so much. I feel terrible because of that.
Yeah, I've been taking Spanish, but it's just I'm not very fluent, so it would take me a while to be able to communicate back with that.
Yeah. Okay. Looks like he's going with Neva with Doug Derby too. So it looks like he's probably just be going with Neva Key for this round. Probably because he's used to it.
Yeah, probably for every track, Neva Key. And Neva Key's not a bad pick. Not a typical pick, but not a bad one.
Yeah, fully upgraded, he is not too bad, and he's actually second best to Bullseye on Gravine Gateway, which is coming up next.
Yeah, and I would expect that hopefully Decker can use the advantages of Neva Key better on a track more like Gravine than Mongaza or Doug Derby, and even Gauntlet, especially Gauntlet, really, because Gauntlet, if you want to take the fastest route, you really got to have that longer boost duration, and Neva Key doesn't have that.
No, I think only Bowles, Ben, and Mars can do it well.
Yeah, overall, they're definitely the strongest on that off-road section. Although you could definitely see some other pods do decently. Most of the top tiers outside of Bullseye have relatively long-ish boosts.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say
might be that Decker's trying to take a whole practice round, as I think is okay. It's okay, not great, but it's okay to do that.
just got out my Spanish book to see if that helps.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what the word for ready is in Spanish, if Decker would be more understanding of that. I would say that based off the Mongaza times, you can probably expect to see something in maybe the high 130s or low 140s.
Yeah.
Maybe they're stronger in Doug Derby. That's possible. Mongaza's pretty specific. 204 practice round for Decker before he's hopefully going to be saying he's ready.
Come on.
It seems like we might have to do the countdown without
Okay.
Decker and just tell him when time's up at this point. Since
Yeah.
he seems to not be responding.
Okay. I will be doing that right now. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Once the streams catch up, we should see Le6lindre reset to get his first time since he's his 15-minute timer. Yep, there it is. Decker's probably just going to keep doing runs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Should we count this one that he's in, or wait till the next one is the first one that we look at?
Well, I'm gonna set the timer now, so
I suppose we'll just
Okay.
wait till next run after this for his
Yeah.
times to start. All right. All right, the cylinder's resetting.
okay. Timer is set at 15. So let's see what Decker comes in. And this track is based off of a oofa. That is a really easy screw up on this track with a fast boosting pod like Ben Bulls or Mars, or even Bullseye.
Yeah. You go over that dirt hill to take a better line, and it just launches you into the air if you miss time to boost.
Yeah. So
Looks like Decker is going to be starting the first real runs here in a moment.
yeah,
43.
43.
Alright. I believe that's on pace for about 2 minutes right now for this Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, 40-40 would be 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Crap. Almost barely makes it through the corkscrew.
Yeah, it was good.
Whoa!
Crash on the curb.
Oh. This track is just brutal. And it's also, on the real life track it's based on, in Laguna Seca, is notoriously brutal too.
Yeah, it's a very tight turns track, easy to crash, especially if you hold your boost for too long, but if you don't boost efficiently, you can't get a good time, so it's really hard to balance out. And as you said, Laguna Seca, infamous, especially for that corkscrew that Le6lindre is going through now.
Hairpin is also pretty solid too. It's called the Andretti hairpin. And about 2 minutes is right. 1:59.37. Oh, Decker
7-2.
did not repair and let go of the boost. And
Oh,
boosted
man.
under.
That was a decent lap for Decker, too.
159.372.
Sub 2 is pretty starting solid, I would say, for times on this track, especially with Ben, who's really hard to control. I almost wonder if the cylinder should have gone Bullseye here just to get a bank time.
Or even Mars.
Yeah, someone with great
Yeah, because I know, because Mahonic, Mars, Ben, Bullseye, all really good.
Yeah.
158 for Decker. That's 158 point.
Oh, it doesn't look like you can see it. Might have to look back at that later if he doesn't get a better time. It's a 158
Definitely.
something.
158 something, yeah.
The cylinder coming into the jump on the second lap. Decent pace.
Boosting, going through the roll straight. There's the corkscrew. Have to brake on it. That turn, the corkscrew turn in Laguna Seca, I mentioned, the reason why that turn is so, that
Takes a
turn is
crash on
so,
the inside.
That turn on Laguna Seca in real life is so brutal because you have negative G, lateral G, then positive G, all in a space of a few seconds.
Yeah, it's really brutal. Even in the game, taking a line through there aren't very many angles and speeds that work, especially with a pod like that.
Yeah, there's more angles that work with Bullseye the most because he's so narrow. Mars has slightly fewer because he's so wide. Same with Mahonic. And then you have Ben, who's so stiff turning that only one line works, pretty much.
Yeah. Looks like Le6lindre is going to beat his 159. The 156.72. Let's see what it is. 717.
717.
Solid 3 seconds-ish improvement. More like 2.5, I suppose. Decker comes in with a sub 40 lap. I think that might be the fastest lap we've seen so far. Close to for Decker.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad with Neva.
Yeah, Neva Key is significantly slower than Ben, so you would expect him to be doing a lot worse, but Neva Key's superior handling is really showing off.
Yeah.
Ooh, bad crash on the right side and third lap, unfortunately. Doesn't look like maybe he'll be barely beating that 158, might be close.
Not quite.
Another 158, a high one.
158.81 is what I saw.
Right now, that's the best time we've seen. 0.815. Cylinder, second lap. Nice, cleaner.
Going through the rainy curve right afterward. Not bad either.
The most important thing that we can see here is that Le6lindre has a hard time keeping his heat up because of the difficult turns. But 35.88, not a bad lap for Le6lindre.
But his
He gets a red engine.
massive in the red.
Is it just enough to not be pulled to the right?
Yeah, he doesn't quite know how to hold that boost through the roll straight up until the corkscrew.
Execute the corkscrew.
37.
On pace to beat his 156 pretty solidly right now.
Yeah, he's going to annihilate it.
Is that going to be a 149?
149.88. 149.876.
Very nice. Sub 150 here. It cannot be emphasized that it's really hard to do if you don't know if you're not experienced with the track.
Yeah, my record is with Bullseye, and I got like 139.
Yeah, sub 140 with Bullseye is pretty solid, especially on the N64 where it's a lot harder to boost some official pieces.
Yeah. Bullseye is just way more comfortable for me on the track. His agility's a dream. And the next track in Gravine Gateway is where Bullseye is actually the fastest pod on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we can see any sub 5s mechanics too. I suspect that maybe Le6lindre can. I don't know if Decker will be able to. 151, that was a lot better.
151.
Still, I think it was a 3-something, but it was really hard to see.
Yeah,
time just kind of disappears on us.
Yeah.
Le6lindre coming in at the end of lap 2. Take a pretty fast lap for him to do his best, but it's definitely possible.
He needs to be very careful with the engine. And Ben takes a bit slower time to repair compared to... Oh my! This is what... Oh, fun.
Yeah, I'd probably reset if I were Le6lindre just because it's going to be hard to be a 149? Yeah, I don't think we're going to do it.
149.
That crash really was a difference maker. Would have been able to break that, maybe get like a 147.
Yeah. Crash, on average, costs anywhere between 3 to 8 seconds, with an average of about 5.
Really just depends on the heat that you crash at and if you're already going slow or not. Because if you lose all of your momentum, that's where you really hate to see crashes.
Yeah.
Decker coming through the second lap. 38.
Oh! Didn't have... The cylinders actually gonna do something pretty decent.
38 first lap. Let's see why he gets on in the second and third. Certainly could be this 149 that he has.
Oof!
Another crashed.
That...
I don't think he's going to be beating his 151 now.
Not at all.
And 151 goes away. Okay, Le6lindre. 36-second lap. Alright. He's going to have an especially quick lap to get his 149 on this pace.
UFO now!
Showing off why the corkscrew is so difficult with them, even with brakes.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to avoid. Yeah, it's usually best to brake on fully upgraded through that if you're not confident on it. That would be very. Yeah, this track, yeah, the Andretti hairpin, which the cylinder just went through, and
yeah, that Andretti hairpin and the corkscrew are really good. Especially if you don't know about the whole traction and sliding thing with Ben, because if you're used to having traction and this, then it's going to be really hard to make those commands.
yeah. Yeah, most of my lines came from, all my lines for my max upgrade times came from using 24-600.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially with Bullseye. You don't need the lower traction to make a lot of the turns pretty easily. So that makes sense.
Well, I just did it.
there.
I just did it because I was just doing nothing on the 64. And
Yeah.
64 is fixed at 24 frames.
New lap record.
Oh, man.
New lap record for Le6lindre. Combined with a sub 36 first lap, he's on a really good pace for him.
Yeah.
If he can get another one of those laps, that's going to be a really nice time for Le6lindre. On a good pace. If he can survive this last bit.
Oh, he's in the
Just
red,
barely.
but he's going to make it. 143.36.
Really good improvement for Le6lindre there.
143.364 for cylinder.
Nice time. He's inching closer to sub 140, and sub 140 is a really hard thing to do.
Yeah. Ben is the fastest, but probably the hardest to get below sub 140 of the fast pods.
For sure.
Because I did it with Bullseye, and that was pretty close to his limit back then.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what Bullseye can get exactly if you were to have somebody like Ace going for it, but
I think it's about 136 at max.
that would make sense, yeah. Decker still seems... I think he's on a crashless run so far. Hopefully that commentator's cursing there. Had a 36 first lap, but it's pretty solid for an EVA key.
This will probably be Cylinder's final attempt.
Yeah. 37 for Decker. Might be on pace to beat his 151.
Uh-oh!
Oh!
I knew that was going to come down to a crash. You just knew from that launch angle it was going to happen.
Yeah. You get that high angle and it just doesn't work out. Still has a chance, maybe, if we can get through the last part. Oh,
Nope, he
no.
crashes in the corkscrew.
I don't think he can do it. Even with Neva Key's fast acceleration, I don't think he can get there.
No, not at all.
Those two crashes really were the difference maker. It would have shattered the 151 without them.
Yeah. If it's a 151, since we missed it, we might need to write it down as like 151.995.
Until we can look back at it, that's probably what we should be doing, yeah. Unless
we should. Yeah, I
he
think
has just 20
Decker is
seconds to
calling
start.
it.
Yeah, I think he is.
And now I'm getting ready to mention the time being up for cylinder. Times up. Okay.
Decker started a new run, but probably just because he didn't know what time was up.
Yeah.
He might have
Okay.
started it just barely before time ended anyways.
Okay, time's up.
Yep. Cylinder just going to have his 1:43.364.
Yep.
Pretty solid time. Decker
Yeah.
might be on pace to beat his 151, in which case he'll be able to write down a new time if he finishes the run, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to make sure that he ends up with it.
Yeah. So, just waiting on him. Dekercastle actually came in. He mentioned a 157.973 as his fastest time.
That's not quite what we saw. But I think he might be saying his last time, maybe? I'm not sure. We'll have to see what it comes up as.
Let's see. Oh, nope.
Oh, no, he called it. Okay.
He called it. So,
well, I know that we saw 151 because we watched it just barely tick over past 150. So it might just be taking that as a 151.973 then, unless we look back at.
possibly, yeah. So, Cylinder are really going to be using Ben here.
I hope not, because Ben is certainly far more difficult to use than Bullseye.
And slower than Bullseye.
Yeah, I believe the fastest time that I've ever gotten with Ben on Grabvine was about a 4:45, which is significantly slower than Bullseye.
And I just texted them. I said next track, Grabvine Gateway at 30 minutes, and then I added, take a run with crashes as your first run.
Yeah, this track, it will make you crash. Even the most experienced players will crash here quite consistently. Grabvine is just that brutal.
Yeah, this track probably crashes you more than is probably the track that crashes you the most, along with, I would say, Bunta Classic and Fire Mountain Rally.
Mm-hmm. Bunta
Great
Classic
tracks.
was really only just because of the fire, though. If it weren't for that, then it wouldn't be that horrible, but...
Well, it's still a pretty difficult and winding track, even without the Tuscan Dune turn fire.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely top 5 even without that RNG factor, but that RNG just knocks it up another level, really.
Yeah. Up, the cylinders go with Bullseye.
Or is he?
Or is he? I'm not so sure.
Looks like he
Better be
chose
doing Bullseye if you know this track.
Funny enough, it looks like his fastest lap currently is with Ben.
Yeah.
Let's see what Decker does. once he's ready.
Okay.
All right.
I'll set
Looks like
my
they're both
timer.
ready.
Okay. Okay, it looks like both of them are ready, so I'm going to give them the countdown.
Not sure quite what's on Le6lindre's screen rather than a timer. Just filling space.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright.
Which would be, I think in Spanish would be Von.
Yeah, it might be. Go. It depends on what you're saying, who you're saying it to. If you say it to
Yeah,
two
but
people,
I did
then...
it in the plural you, and I think
Yeah.
the plural you is present as Von.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one of the things in Spanish, there's vosotros and vosotras, which you only use in Spain. Latin America doesn't use them.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting, especially since you would think that, I mean, I know that like English has a bunch of different variants, but you would think that something like a vosotros would be used in other areas, but not really. All right, looks like we're getting them started. 30 minutes of grab run.
Yep. And Neva Key is not a bad pick for this track. He's second to Bullseye.
Mm-hmm. And it really comes down to agility and the fact that he has a pretty decent boost thrust on him.
Yeah, his booster is 280, which makes him top out at 930. Bullseye is a notch ahead with Rat's Terrell at 950 with 300.
Yeah, it looks like we already had a crash from Le6lindre, and we take another one.
Yeah, this is why I said take a run with crashes at first.
Yeah, for sure. If you haven't played this track way more than you should play the game, then it's just not going to work out. It takes so
This
long.
track's, yes, mainly because its strategies are radically unique compared to every other track in the game.
Le6lindre messing around for a few seconds there.
This track is really radically unique compared to most other tracks. I mean, most strategies you usually try to do boost management and with the fastest possible pod, which is Ben. But on this track, it's sheer agility, and you have hardly any place to boost, even with Bullseye.
Yeah, it really does come down to forcing every just millisecond of boost out that you can, every frame that you can, because it's so hard to find good places to boost here. There are some straightaways like this one. It's not even that straight though.
Yeah, none of the straightaways are really straight here.
Yeah, and he takes a crash for it, fleeing off the bridge a little bit there, which is really tricky to avoid if you don't recognize that that's coming up. Decker and Le6lindre both coming in for their first lap. Decker taking a crash on the last turn.
2 minutes.
2:01 and a
159 for cylinder.
So we might be able to see. Oh, another crash. So it looks like we're probably going to see maybe around 6 minutes from both of these players.
Yeah. And then coming up next is a shortcut that only comes up on laps 2 and 3, which I like to call the Quake shortcut because an earthquake will shatter it. And here we go.
Le6lindre trying to go through the pillars before the shortcut. There it is.
Yeah. It's a very...
I'm surprised you avoided crashing there.
Yeah, this track is ranked by... This is considered pretty much the hardest track in the whole game.
Oh yeah, for sure. The closest, if you're talking about using the most optimized pod or the fastest pod, is technically either Baru Coast or Fire Mountain Rally, of which Baru Coast is only difficult because you're forced to use bend to get the best time. Whereas Fire Mountain Rally is just brutal, like Gravine in a sense.
I think Gravine Gateway with Bullseye, I think, is harder than Gravine Gateway than Baru Coast with Ben. just because the
Yeah.
track's so brutally hard.
Yeah, for sure. The question is whether or not Fire Mountain Rally is also harder or not, which it depends on who you ask right now. I personally think Blue Coast Bend is the second hardest thing to do in the game outside of Grapevine, if you're talking full track, but I know a lot of people view my Fire Mountain Rally as the second hardest track.
For me, the hardest track has always been Abyss, because of falling off the track just kills your run.
Oh yeah, and climbing up at 24 FPS is practically impossible a lot of times.
Yeah. Gravine Gateway is my second hardest for me, and Fire Mountain Rally is third. Mainly for the same reasons why it's considered so brutal among players in the game in general.
Le6lindre and Decker both on their last laps. Yeah, what's absolutely crazy about this track is just how much time there is that you can save. The world record on this track is right now about a 406.7, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I
And
think
only
so.
and only 2 players have ever gotten sub 408, and I think 4 or 5 have ever gotten sub 410. So it's a super difficult track to try to do good on.
Yeah. I know with sub 410, only you, Ace, King Bean Dip, and a runner will not name who has left the community has gotten sub 410.
Yeah,
And
another
only
runner
the-
by the name of Vinlius has a 408, but he's just waiting to beat that runner that left the community before posting. At least from what I've heard. So just
Yeah, I
barely-
haven't heard. This was of confirmed times.
Yeah, if we're talking confirmed times, only those 4.
Oh, that
crashes
hurts.
just barely before, but he gets a sub 530. Significant improvement on the second and third lap from the first. 527.657 is what it looked like.
That's what it seemed
Not
to me
bad.
too.
Looks like Decker might be on pace for sub 6, maybe low 6 minute, depending on how this finish goes. Probably low 6.
Probably a low 6 from the looks of it.
Oh, crashes just before the finish, really. The last couple turns. Sub 610, looks like.
Yeah, the 608.
Yeah, it looked like a 608.98 for the brief moment I saw it, but it was really hard to tell because just super quick on how fast he went through it. And he looks like Decker's switching pods. Maybe switching to Bullseye here?
You gotta be kidding
Bulls.
me.
No way. Bull's Roar?
You've got to be kidding me. He's
Bulls
much
Roar
slower
is-
than Neva fully upgraded.
For sure. At least in terms of this track. Bulls is the second fastest character overall, but he has the second worst turn rate in the game. Second only to Dud Bolt, and I believe tied with maybe Gascano or somebody like that. But his traction is the lowest in the game, and turn response is terrible. So he's not good on this track at all.
Yeah, and he's the second. He's tied for the worst traction with Elon Mack, Arc Bumpy Reese, Wild Arbido, and Albedo. Yep, those are the 4.
Yeah. They both have very low traction value, almost half of what Von Sandage and UDT have, which is an interesting change.
Yeah, they're the highest in terms of traction, which will go up to 1 max with both Neva and Juan.
And I believe Bulls has a 0.55, and Bullseye is really high up there, like 0.9 something.
Yeah, I think Bullseye is 0.95 fully upgraded, and his
Yeah.
raw, and I think he is 0.7 without upgrades. He's third in traction after Neva. Oh, the cylinder wasn't able to make the quick shortcut. So, but
Funny enough,
Bullseye is-
Decker's not on a terrible pace with Bulls compared to his Nivaki time. Somehow.
yeah, kind of surprising.
Yeah, you would have thought that Nivaki was a lot easier to control. control here. Normally it is considered that way, but I guess he is pretty fragile and goes back and forth quickly, so I guess maybe you're not used to tracking down.
Yeah. Bullseye is basically in or near the top in almost every stat fully upgraded, apart from being so fragile.
The cylinder doing a lot, seemingly much better than his first time. We'll have to see how his last time goes. Decker finished out the first lap. I didn't quite catch what the time was. Appears to have been a low mid-team. Ooh.
Oh my god! Oh no.
Heavy damage. This is the quick short. The cylinder a 147.94. Not a good, that's a pretty solid second lap. It might not sound like it's in the world records, but this track is unbelievably hard to save that time.
Yeah. It's really difficult to get below 5 minutes on this track, even for the best players.
Especially consistently, which, like, this is not a high-L situation. There's a lot of pressure. The stress of being in tournament and trying to get a good seed, or the best seed you can at least. You only get 30 minutes. In Grabvine, even for the best players, sometimes you don't go cautious in that 30-minute time. He has about a minute left to beat his 5:27. I think Decker is on worse pace than his Neva Key time now.
Yeah. Yeah. I know Knock in the last qualifying run did Anakin as a banker for this track.
Yeah, she did.
Anakin's actually pretty decent for this track.
Yeah, Anakin, if driven like crashless and risky strats, can probably even beat Ben's time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. Just goes from one of the worst pods in the game that fully upgrades to beating Ben. And Le6lindre beats his 5:27 with a 5:22.911, it looks like.
That's what it looks like. 5:22.911. Because another pod that's fairly decent, which you'll use on the any percent run, which is the run on the Galactic Circuit, is Eevee. Eevee is also pretty agile, though his brakes are really bad compared to Anakin, Bullseye, and Neva.
Yeah, and Eevee is fully upgraded. He's actually one of the worst pods in the game, even though he's the best starter without upgrades.
Yeah, he has the third lowest boost thrust, with only Lance, Sandage, and Sebulba slower.
Yeah, and when it comes to that booster, sometimes I've wondered if the fact that they capped the top speed was a afterthought after they programmed everything, because they noticed that certain pods were too hard to drive. Because it would have made sense if Sebulba had a lower boost thrust and higher normal top speed based off the upgrade stats, but it just didn't work out in the end. So he's ended up being a really slow pod.
Sebulba fully upgraded is actually the slowest pod fully upgraded.
Yeah.
And if Bullseye is practically great in everything, Sebulba is practically terrible at everything.
Yeah, for real. He has pretty decent turning at about 100 turn rate. It's about the
I think it's 95 or 90.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. It's pretty solid though. So he feels okay to drive in that sense, but everything else is really not that solid. To answer Nacho's question, Le6lindre had a 45.406 and Decker had a 47.165 for MGS.
And we have a 630.10 from Decker.
And a new lap record for Le6lindre. Decker not beating his Neva Key time to nobody's surprise with this.
He's going back to Neva. Yeah. And Sebulba is he's just rotten in this game, and if you tap repair twice, you'll taunt, and if you use Sebulba, it will activate a flame jet.
Yeah. I believe that flame jet is actually something that can be mirrored, if I remember something you said correctly, right?
Yes, it can be mirrored. It will be mirrored. It will be mirrored in mirror mode.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing that the pods themselves seem to mirror during mirror mode as well.
Well, usually I do as a strategy on the toughest track he's on in Booja Classic. What I try to do is make sure to surpass Sebulba on the left side so I don't have the flame jet come on.
Yeah, for sure. And Le6lindre taking a crash in the swamp, a very easy place to crash if you don't know the pattern through the bombs.
Yeah, it's a...
before the first one.
Yeah, it is a really hard one. So,
yeah, for sure.
But I always found it funny how the star pods in the movie and Anakin and Sebulba are among the worst, and the best one is Ben, who blows up on the starting line without moving a single bit in the movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the lore had something to do with him having been sabotaged by somebody else, but
I think it was Bumpy.
It might have been Bumpy, yeah. Then he disappears.
Yeah. Yeah, it disappears in the middle of the race. I know second is Gascano, who's awful in this game.
Yeah, Gascano not only feels terrible to control, but doesn't have the speed to make up for it. Le6lindre skipping the shortcut in the third lap.
And then I know, because I know the racers that complete the race. They mentioned out of all the pods in there, I think only 6 completed it, according to the lore.
6 out of like 18 or something like that.
Because I know all the pods that completed, I know were Anakin, Gascano, Evie, Beto, Elon, I think Bowles.
I think that list is correct, although I haven't looked at that in a little while, so I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Le6lindre
So usually
driving third spot. Makes it through the gate. Okay. He's actually on pretty good pace here. Currently has a 5:22 and is on pace to absolutely shatter that time. Looks to be a low 5 minute. Maybe he'll be able to get sub 5 with the 13 minutes left here. 5:02 maybe? 5:02.30? With a sub 140 first lap. If he could do that 3 laps, that'd be great. 5:02.300. A 20-second improvement. It looks like my co-commentator has temporarily disconnected, and he seems to be back.
5:02.300 for Le6lindre. And that is a really decent time for Grapevine Gateway.
Oh yeah, he actually had his sub 140 first lap, which doing that would have put him on pace for sub 5, which is, again, a really difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
And
I got
despite
like...
the fact,
I got like 442.
442?
That's
yeah,
back in 2012.
Yeah. This track has come a long way in the past, I guess, nearly a decade now, if you look at it like that.
Yep.
Not much more that can be done with it in terms of pushing it. There's not very many more seconds to come off, probably, but it's still some time.
The other part that makes me laugh too about how the movie and lore is compared to how the pods perform the game is that Bullseye is not in the race at all in the lore, and Mars, who's probably the third best, along with probably Ben and Bullseye, has a bolt sucked into his engine.
Yeah, that he did. And Nacho made a funny comment saying that Evie's so slow he didn't have to worry about everyone else crashing him in the Booja Classic in the movie.
Yep.
Pretty
Now the funny
accurate.
thing is that if you read the lore, he was like the champion of Doug Derby. Eevee. In fact, his voice line in this game says, Eevee Endicott has come out of nowhere to challenge the best pod racers. This confident Truffian forms 3 semi-pro titles on Mellowstar.
It's kind of funny to think about that. Oh, it looks like Decker's coming in for a significantly improved time from a 6:08 we came in the first time, with a 5:44.73.
0.73.
I believe it was 7. It was really hard to see, but
I caught it as 7.3.
Alright, so I'm glad we could agree on that. 7:35 is supposed to be then. I still don't know what his Doug Derby 151 decimal time is.
Yeah, same here.
Guess we'll have to look at that after. The cylinder coming in first lap. Maybe we'll be able to get a sub 140 again. Depends on how clean this last car is. Looks like he's gonna get it.
It's a new lap
Another
138.
new record for a cylinder. Nice. Basically sub 5 right now. The Neva key time ratio was 5:44.735. I'll just type that.
Looks like he's
seems
just-
to be opting to against the shortcut on purpose, perhaps to not die as often.
Yeah. Yeah, with no upgrades, it's actually even more difficult to nail well. Because you recover momentum far slower without upgrades.
Yeah, I do know that it's possible to do the shortcut without even braking with no upgrades bullseye, but that's not the most optimal pod, so you're not really going to get a chance to do that recently.
Yeah. I mainly use Bullseye just because on the 64, Bulls and Ben are just a nightmare on this track, particularly without upgrades.
Yeah. When it comes to the tournament, I'm pretty sure that I'll be opting if I get to do no upgrades, Gravine to use Bullseye, just because Bulls is so hard to avoid crashing on this track. And he accelerates so slowly, you don't get a lot of time.
Yeah, it takes forever to repair fully upgrade without upgrades, to the point where it's safer to crash than repair.
Yeah. Taking damage is just not an option you can accept. With that, the cylinder coming in second lap.
138.
138. He's on pace. He can take even a couple seconds time loss compared to his first and second lap and still get a sub 5. Decker seems to be doing alright. Not sure if he's on pace to get his 544 right now, but it is
It looks like he's taking a safer line too. The cylinder is what I was talking about. Because usually the things is you kind of go through that straight turn. Oh my god, that was a massive amount of damage he took.
He needs to repair that. Gets it repaired to the because Bullseye's repair is so good.
Yeah, he's actually fully upgrade. He's tied with Slide for the highest repair rate.
Yeah, and Slide, interestingly enough, also is tied with Bullseye for the fastest turn rate. So you can actually get away with Slide. Yeah, you can get away with Slide pretty well, but it takes a crash in the lines. Same, and Decker seems to crash in about the same spot a little bit later on in this one.
I
He
actually
crashes on the gate. Bad combos.
Slide is just.
Looks like he could be on pace for the sub 5 if he has a clean ending. Just barely, if he can get it out. Let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey,
He gets
he
it.
arcs it out. 4:59.
459.443.
Very solid time for Le6lindre getting sub 5, which you won't see many people who don't know the game very well get. Like, sub 5 is extremely difficult, and if you don't play the game, you probably won't ever see it. If you just don't play the game. Le6lindre obviously having some experience from the past, having played in previous years, and he even has some speedruns on speedrun.com, so he's certainly an experienced player, and as you can see, it pays off with sub 5. About 5.5 minutes remaining for this section of the qualifiers. Decker has a fast ending, maybe could beat his 5:44. I wouldn't anticipate it happening. Seems a bit too slow to get there. Oh, and a bad crash right before the ending section for Decker. Just gonna be barely too slow to beat his 5:45. It's gonna be a 5:48.46 with Decker. We're on what could quite possibly be the last one for this cylinder. Decker's starting one last one as well. To give it a little bit more insight about the difficulty of this track, the section that Le6lindre is going through right now, and getting to the end of the jungle, is one of the two hardest sections of the track. So this and the following section, the swamp, very difficult to do efficiently. Swamp's one of the only places in the game where you actually have to use the brakes, even with a character like just agile and light on his, I guess light on his pod, not light on his feet, as well. So you're gonna see that a lot of people struggle through these sections, especially if they haven't played the track much.
It's really dark and disorienting. I know a few times I've even upped the brightness on my TV screen doing ILs in the past.
Le6lindre choosing to restart after that crash because he would have lost pace on his first lap. Sub 3 minutes left remaining. Pretty sure Decker's just going to be taking this as his final time once time is up.
Is he calling it now?
Oh no, he's restarting
restarting.
again. He might call it soon if he doesn't get a run going though. Misses the boost start.
Boost starts, I would say, probably the easiest on the 64.
You do have more frames of or more time in terms of frames to do it.
No, but also on the PC, you have to menu a certain way to get the boost start.
Yeah, that's true. Especially on keyboard, that can be difficult to really do.
Yeah. And
Especially in terms
on the
of...
agree, and on the N64 and on the Nintendo 64, you can just use A to skip all the cutscenes, and then just, as long as you don't hit A during the counter strikes, you can hit A and still get the boost start on 64.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how that was programmed differently between the two, or the multiple versions to have an issue.
I think it might be something to do I know with the PC's case, it's just because of the controller options to you. Because I know that N64 and I think the Dreamcast version have only one controller option.
Yeah, that's true. I know that using the controller that I have, luckily my selecting to go through the menu is on my pitch down from me, so I don't actually have to worry about that myself. Keyboard players is something that's going to be an issue.
Yeah. The N64 one is... Yeah, the N64 one's a lot more, I would say, downsized because of how much smaller the memory storage was on the 64 compared to every other system.
143, first lap from the cylinder, 5 seconds
And the
slower.
cylinder's calling it with a minute left. So I'm going to be just ticking, getting ready to say...
Yeah, it takes the 459. Sub 5 still good solid time, for sure. We'll have to see if Decker's going to be on pace to beat his 544. So far, it doesn't look like it.
Okay, I just gave out the warning time's up.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to see if Decker's going to finish the run or not. Doesn't have to, but also certainly can. It looks like he... No, I thought he was braking for a reason there. Looks like Decker's going to try to finish it, but with only a minute left, I don't think he's going to be able to beat his 544.
No, the time's already up.
Yeah. I believe it's 30 minutes for Gauntlet as well, correct?
Yeah.
We'll be curious to see how good of a time we can get. Looks like Decker's calling it now with, I believe it was a 544. Let me look at 735 was what we officially called it.
Yep. So now we're on to the...
Yeah, we're on to the final track, the Gauntlet, which is a very big change from Grapevine. It has a lot of long straightaways. It's a very long track. I believe it's the distance.
I would call it probably the easiest Uvu 4 track.
Yeah, I would agree there. Looks like Decker might be resetting his game here.
Yep.
Le6lindre seems to be about ready in a few seconds here.
Just told him next track is the Gauntlet at 30 minutes. Pink guy.
Decker seems to be having some game issues, perhaps, or maybe stream issues. I'm not quite sure. The cylinder seems to be changing, I'm guessing, to bend, since bend is the most optimal here. And he already used bend on MGS and Doug Derby.
Yeah.
I'd argue that Gauntlet, in terms of how hard it is to just go through it and be used to it with bend, it's probably the easiest of the tracks that use bend here. But I wouldn't know. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the easiest track, though. The cylinder on Mars Duo right now. Not sure if he's just swapping around or what he's doing there. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Decker is having going on right now.
He
Hasn't
said
changed off a
he
black
said
screen.
beforehand that his OBS was wonky.
So maybe it just froze on him. Le6lindre says that he's ready with Ben. Not sure when Decker's going to be ready.
Yeah, we have. Running low on time.
That we are. It'd be ideal if we could start soon, but I'm not sure what's going on with Decker. Right now, I don't know if we might just have to start the last 30 minutes without Decker being ready at this point.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that! It's the galaxy famous Gazgano in his custom Ord Padrovia.
Yeah, I would say we just kind of have to at this point. Don't want to push the time. We'll have to hope that Decker's stream will come back up at some point. We'll have to message him directly. Yeah, just looking at this, Decker was sitting in the setup channel for a while, so the fact that he's not there, maybe his internet has gone down. Yeah, I would say just do the countdown. Hope that Decker can come back in time.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, it looks like Decker is actually offline on Discord, so it might be an internet issue. Okay. Start the 30 minutes. Hope for the best for Decker, otherwise he gets the penalty time if I'm not mistaken. You know what that is on the go?
I think it's 8 minutes.
It's painful, to say the least. Sure, Le6lindre will be restarting here momentarily. Just barely in time to finish on time with 30 minutes. Yep, there he goes. Nacho is saying that 7:30 is the penalty time. Wouldn't surprise him if Decker wasn't capable of getting that given his time so far. Although I think he was significantly slower. Which I'm assuming he would have. Le6lindre starting his first attempt of actually using Gascano, which kind of surprised me. In terms of the AI, this is advanced. Takes a crash in a weird spot. Hitting it right well, just before the section where you can't actually tilt over.
Okay. This is the trick with this track, is this off-road portion. This is why you need a pod with a long booster like Ben.
Yeah, Le6lindre pretty easily, comfortably making it across without losing boost. Ooh, almost barely avoided that rock there.
And I just said what I found out was in Spanish to him. I said to Dekercastle about, I said, tenemos poco tiempo, which means we have low time.
Yeah. Le6lindre seems to be having a pretty okay first half. Pretty solid overall. Certainly going to be a pretty easy. Oh,
Oof.
takes a crash.
This tube is so brutal because the rotating gate means you can't tilt into them.
Yeah. If you do tilt, it'll start you like halfway through the, like halfway rotated, which is really hard to get used to. But sometimes it's different.
Yeah, at low frame rates, the tilting in those tubes is practically certain death.
Yeah, you just fling into the outer wall of the room. Right as I say that, it jumps to Le6lindre crashing on the left wall. But yeah, 2:05, about 6-minute-ish pace depending on how his future laps go. Not a terrible time, that's for sure. It's pretty hard to get consistently a pace that will get you around 5 minutes on this track.
Yeah, it's
The world
really
record
hard.
the world record's a high 458.
Yeah, getting below 510 is really solid, and sub 5 is practically world record pace.
There are some lines that make it a lot easier, but you're not gonna see that from Le6lindre here because he's just focused on making sure it gets through the track with efficient boosting, decent lines, and minimal crashes. He just wants at least a solid starting time.
Yeah. The best pods here are probably Ben, Mars, and Bowles.
Yeah, I would say Gauntlet is a pretty typical track in terms of the order of the pods, probably just based off your top speed mostly, except for the off-road, which changes it a little bit.
Yeah, I just think because of the off-road portion, because...
Yeah, Mars might be better than Eldar, and it takes another crash. It's really hard to navigate those tubes without crashing if you're not used to having a specific pattern.
I think Mars might also be better than Mahonic, because Mahonic's booster runs out fast.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Mahonic has good cooling, a good heat-cooling ratio, and pretty short boost because of that. That's just how the tendency is in this game. You have a longer boost and you have a longer cooldown time. So, even though he has good cooling, it doesn't do much good on that off-road section.
Yeah. What you really need is long boost duration. The longest. You need a high boost first, plus a long boost duration. And the ones that do that the most are Ben, Bowles, Mars, and also I'd say Elon, since he takes a lot longer to heat up compared to Beto and Ma.
Yeah, it's quite possible that Elan might be the fourth best. It's pretty close. I'd have to like actually lab it to see how much time is lost, but it's quite possible.
Well, I know the top 3 in order are Ben, Bulls, and Mars. Pretty sure of that.
Yeah. The speed that Aldon has over Mars is not significant to make up for how slow he goes over the off-road.
Yeah. And this track is very interesting off-road without upgrades, because you basically have to use the booster as sparingly as possible so you can make it down the off-road path.
Yeah, not sure. I think Decker is offline, but we don't have the time to wait for him right now, so I'm not sure how that's going to be handled. It's quite possible he'll just be given the penalty time. Looks like Le6lindre is going to get a sub 6, 5:53,
It's a new lap record.
8.
53.876 it looks like.
Looked like he got a new... actually, I think he had a blank save for Gauntlet, so I don't think it's an actual fast lap.
Gauntlet also has some really crazy skips too.
Yeah, it certainly does. There's about 3 variants, I believe, of the same idea. Just right in this section Le6lindre was at. You can either ride up the wall that was on the right, or hit a couple of rocks in a different ways. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, the wall ride was actually found by Mike and I back in the day.
Yeah, and that's easily the most consistent, especially on PC, because if you go at 60 frames per second with R600, you can ride the edge of the wall really consistently.
It's also really consistent with Mars too.
Yeah, I believe Mars is hover height might actually help him there, especially with his high traction combined with that.
Because I remember I was the first one to do that wall ride with Ben, and my god, he's far less consistent at than Mars.
Especially on the low FPS of the N64, it's practically impossible to get him to ride that wall consistently.
Yeah.
Le6lindre seems to be on a good pace if he can keep it up. And right as I say that, he crashes.
It's like... very... And these rotating gates are such a pain in the butt on these Uvu 4 tracks because of the fact that you have to, because they can literally turn at will. Sometimes they'll change before you have time to react and crash.
Yeah, you can fit through the thing basically guaranteed if you tilt through it and let go of tilt right at the last second, so that way you don't rotate too much in the tube, but like you said earlier, that's really... it's not safe to do tilting into the tube.
Yeah, this, and also you have to be, and also coming out of that tube, you have to be very neutral with the control sticks, with the controls, or even pull up, because if you push down, like you're trying to boost out of the tube, usually you slam into the ground full throttle and crash.
Yeah, for sure. It's really easy to crash coming out of the tubes here. Especially on Executioner. Executioner can have a really tough time looking through some of the tubes consistently since it can lock the rotation on one of the tubes, which is the only tube in the game that'll do that, and Le6lindre cuts down and crashes for it.
Yeah, usually what I would try to do, usually was trying to avoid locking that tube, what I would try to do was basically slam on the brakes and then hug the bottom of the tube and only even out and pull up at the entrance so I don't crash.
Yeah. It's certainly difficult to do consistently. The easiest ways to do it nowadays are a wall jumping, which can still lock you, despite how high and how neutral you can be with it. and actually tilting into the tube at full speed.
Which just terrifies me.
It is pretty terrible. Oh, a double crash for Le6lindre, and he restarts for it. Seemingly.
Yeah, yeah. But I would say the Gauntlet and Vengeance, they have only one tube, but they're probably far more terrifying than the Executioner tubes.
On the whole, especially if you don't know the asteroid patterns, they're certainly harder than Executioner's tubes. Especially Executioner's second tube. It's a very, well, the second tube in ILs, it's technically the third tube. Right before the end of the track, it's really easy because all you have to do is stay neutral and get final traction. Although at lower TFPS, like I'm sure you know, right? For N64 FPS, it's really easy to fling around in those tubes still.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, the execution. I was actually most comfortable with the Executioner tubes on the 64.
Yeah, I can see how that would be. The ending of Gauntlet's tube is rough.
Yeah, if you're not neutral, you just slam right into the ground and it crashes you.
Yeah, and a lot of the patterns that have been used were not known about very consistently back in the day, so...
Yeah, and you also can't count on the AI to take out rocks for you on the Gauntlet like they do on Executioner and Vengeance.
Yeah, they don't really do that here. I personally don't use the AI on anything but the Boonto courses. I know that a lot of players do, but it just throws me off to see asteroids disappear. And Le6lindre, another crash on the tube.
And also at high frame rates, you run the risk of getting soft blocked into an asteroid.
Yeah, you can just get right inside. It's quite an interesting bug.
Because that does not happen at low frame rates.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why the respawning changes how you, or maybe it's just that you can't go through it as easily. I'm not sure if you can spawn inside the asteroids in the N64.
I've never had that happen.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why the respawning is different.
I think it's because you stay more in the center of the tube at higher frame rates because you can move a bit more in the lower frame rates of the tubes.
Yeah. And an interesting question from Malted Fox in chat, and it's how the runners are playing this. I'm not quite sure how Le6lindre or Decker specifically play, but as Nacho stated, controller and keyboard are the most common options. You will also see flight stick played by a couple people. That's really about it. I don't think anybody uses a mouse. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody using a mouse.
No one uses a mouse for this game. You don't think you'll get enough inputs to actually make it useful for a mouse.
Yeah.
Because usually it's a controller or keyboard is the most common. I know Mikey Burger, who's not participating this year, uses a flight stick.
Yeah. He does. He's one of the only players. I know Digital Unity used to use a flight stick and play on PC, and Le6lindre, another crash on the tubes. You just can't forget not to. Pretty. He's playing pretty cleanly overall. Sorry about that.
It's a new lap record.
Seems to be on pace to beat his current best time.
Yeah.
Funny enough, to comment on Malted Fox's most recent thing, I actually also use a Switch Power A controller for this game, and I find it to work quite well, especially with the buttons that I have on the back.
Oh!
Not sure if Le6lindre is going to beat his 553 or not with that crash. Still could.
I don't think he's gonna barely make it this whole way.
Just barely has enough speed to not lose his 75% threshold to boost again.
Yeah. That part of Gauntlet is real, the maker or breaker for this track, because only Ben, Bowles, and Mars can do it reliably.
Yeah, and Ben has easily the longest distance.
Yeah. In fact, I did some testing on the Gauntlet without upgrades, and only Ben and Mars are really reliable at it.
Yeah, Bulls also would as well if you are at like 0 heat. It's just really hard, and of course on N64 the controller that is completely unreliable.
I tried it with Bowles, and I did a cold boost start, and he barely made it in the best case. And I don't think that's something you can fix with a frame rate issue.
Le6lindre coming in with
541.02.
A 12-second improvement.
541.21.
Yeah. Improved by 12.8 seconds. Significant improvement for Le6lindre.
But yeah, I tested this, and no upgrades, and yeah, only Ben and Mars are reliable at making it the whole way from a cold start.
Yeah, I can imagine that would make more sense. Although Mars is a little bit questionable still, because his speed is so... his boost bus is not as good as other pods.
He actually has a booster longer than Ben.
Yeah, in terms of the time. Depends on how his
Because-
top speed is, I guess. I'm not quite sure.
His top speed without upgrades is 540.
The cylinder surprisingly not resetting despite not being able to boost on this.
Yeah. I'm surprised he's also taking the more winding path, because usually what I would usually... Oh,
and
he
resets.
got it! Read our minds this time.
For sure he did. Yeah, I don't think Decker's gonna be getting back online in the remaining 12 minutes, so unfortunately I believe that will mean we'll have to give him the penalty time, unless he's able to somehow do another qualifier only for Gauntlet, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
No.
Certainly is a very sad thing to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always sad to have a DNF.
Especially when it wasn't the player's intent.
No.
The cylinder seems to be playing pretty consistently here. Only really dying in tubes, and seems to be getting his boost pretty well over the off-road. Although I do think he's underheating slightly before it gets to overall. Not too much time lost from that. Yeah, Mikey, he went offline just before being able to do any runs on the track. Decker, yeah. Cylinders, you're gonna make it through the tubes, and that might be one of his first crashes too. For a very solid first lap.
It's a new lap.
147!
Now that's actually a really good first lap from the cylinder.
Yeah, it's pretty solid on the Gauntlet to get a time below 150 for a lap.
For sure.
Because the first lap record is around 139 or even 138.9, but it doesn't go any lower than that.
Yeah, and the fact that he had that crashes too really helped him out there. Seems to be winding around the rocks before boosting in racing strategy to avoid the fires.
That's interesting. Usually I would just boost jump over them, and that's what most players tend to do if you really know the track well.
Yeah, the typical is a double jump. Boost off to the off-road section that you can actually still hold your nose down. So it doesn't slow you down like
And then on other cases, the other option is to boost jump over one, then boost jump onto a lighter path right before the paid prison compound, and then floor the boost there for the off-road.
Yeah, it's also a good strategy. A little bit slower, I think, but not a big difference. Le6lindre still having a crash around here. Gets into the tube. Let's see if he remembers how he got through it last time and if he can replicate it this time. And
Looks like he's slowing down.
He might be breaking it a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't hear him.
It's a new lap record.
Another
146?
146 this time. Wow. He is on a very good pace. Not very many players have ever done significantly better per lap there. I believe most of his time loss is actually coming from the way he approaches this by going so. Oh, and he crashes! And now he's gonna have a hard time getting his boost started before the off-road. Takes a super wide line. He
was able to get it.
Yeah, he might just barely be able to irk out a sub 530 if he gets a really clean run. Maybe. Certainly on pace still to beat his best time if he can get out that fire. Doesn't have a beat, not too bad.
Oh, I'm amazed he survived that.
I am as well. Normally you'd launch right into the scene and explode if you do that. Approaching the final tube. Good pace still. See if he can close it out.
Uh-oh!
Crashes just in the last second.
Although it's not quite as bad of a loss, I think he's still gonna shatter it.
He's still breaking his previous best by like 9 seconds, I believe, even with the 2 deaths.
532.881. That's he shattered it.
For sure. His previous best was a low 41, so he took off 8.3 seconds about.
Yeah, he's been. Yeah, it's pretty insane to see a player do this in the qualifying run but then because of how long the track is, it's not surprising to have your time get knocked down in massive chunks.
Yeah, he's clearly been learning how to play the track more consistently as we've been watching him, which is really impressive to see. Maybe just refreshing his memory is more accurate since he's played the game for a while.
Yeah.
Nacho saying that Le6lindre has to take off 10 seconds overall to block knock. I'm kind of pretty solid qualifier for a rookie.
Yeah, that was 5:20, which is insane for a rookie.
For sure. Let's see if Le6lindre can take off some more time here. If he doesn't crash twice, he actually might have a chance.
And Knock also pulled like 510 with bullseye, which is pretty insane for a rookie too for graphite.
Yeah, so it really was impressive to see.
This
Nacho cheering for Le6lindre. currently on a good lap 1 pace. Maybe not his best, but a good pace nonetheless. Goes crashes. Oh! But has a
He hit
bad
the angle
exit.
wrong.
He was tilted just barely upside down and killed him. Chooses to keep it surprisingly, although I guess he thinks he can maybe get no crashes the rest of the time.
Yeah, probably. Oh, and I was just, and it's kind of funny to see the 2-player version of the qualifying because it looks like Watto is peeking over the right screen.
Yeah, and you can just see Ben's legs right underneath Decker's screen as well. Oh, bad heat for Le6lindre on this off-road section. He's gonna overheat too early.
Yep. Eee! He should restart by now.
I would also think that this would be a reset because he crashed in the first lap and then messed up the off-road section. Oh, he takes another crash. He's definitely not going to beat his 5:31, even if he has a good run after this crashless run. Yep, there he goes.
He's restarting.
That's a good choice. Might be his last run this time.
Yep. And yeah, the Gauntlet, I would like to say, I consider it a relaxing track apart from the tube.
Yeah, overall it is pretty relaxing. Yeah, if you go for world record pace, it's certainly stressful in some of the turns, but overall it's pretty chill for a track.
Nope, he's overheating again.
He's trying to avoid underheating before the off-road. He's just using too much heat.
Yeah. It's very tricky because you need to.
Was it? Wait, hold up. Was Nacho's? What was Le6lindre's a 5:31 or 5:32? I wrote down a 5:31.883, but now I'm starting to question. I suppose we'll have to see after he finishes his last run here. Maybe he'll beat it.
Uh-oh. He's restarting. This is probably going to be his final attempt because if he makes it through one final lap, it's game over. From now on.
Yeah. He only has a minute basically left to reset at this point, because this play can reset for a little while here. Even if he does it right. Hopefully he's learned to use a little less heat before the off-road section after his last couple of attempts. Looks like he's opted to not boost as much here.
That's a good thing. I'm pretty sure he's on pace to make it all the way through.
There's super high heat, but he's going to be fine. Yep. I think he's going to be keeping this one. Yeah. Now here's the thing that Le6lindre hasn't been doing, which is the roll jump, which is an obstacle jump right in that section that he just went through going that long. We've seen it done by 3 players in the previous qualifier, although Nacho Brado, I believe, opted out of it. Oh.
I think Cylinder is calling it.
Yeah, looks like he crashed twice in that short time.
Crashed in the tube, but
so.
he's looking like he's calling it. So we have.
He's saying that he got a 5:32. So we'll see. I believe then that would mean that he actually did get a 532 then. And I just mistyped it.
532.881.
Yep.
And time's up. So we have 532.881 for Cylinder and a DNF for Decker, unfortunately.
Yep. Unfortunately, that's how it's going to have to be. And I believe we do not have enough time for any interviews.
I don't
of this
think
sort
so.
today.
No, we don't. So,
Yeah, it was a very good time for Le6lindre there.
so just saying time's up. And we are just waiting on him to cancel his game. And we can end it.
I think he's just messing around anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems to me it was a pretty solid performance by Le6lindre overall.
Yeah.
Poor Decker having internet disconnections, unfortunate though.
Yes. Yep. So we are okay, so we're calling it, and good luck. And it looks like with this we are ending the match. So it looks like with that we are finished, and good game, dekercastle. Sorry about that. Oh, rotten luck for him. But
yeah, that really was.
But yep, looks like we are ending it right now. So good luck, and may the force be with you.